Yeah, somebody had mentioned that that another option was La Barbie because he was born here.
So in terms of the Barbie, like I met him. I'm not gonna say he was a friend of mine, but I had dealings with him. Again, Barbie was not your business person. Your Barbie was in a special place because he was Arturo Bertrand Leiva's top lieutenant, not because of business, because he was a killer, because he ran a hit squad. He had that special place, but there's two different sides of it, you know? I know people ask about Chino Anthrax, and I want to make it real clear. Yeah, we met him, we were around him, especially like I was around him, but he wouldn't be able to be in our conversation when I was around. You know, I make it real clear. There's the hitman, and there's those type of people. I don't care how close you were to the bosses or to the boss and sons. You're in another table, and we were at the table, right? If that makes it clear. So like they were not even preview to what we were actually talking about, or you know, the business we're actually doing with them.
But they get work. I mean, the man was giving them work. Anthrax, Javier Torres at one time and Manuel Torres. They were, of course, they were, selling work for them, in a different level. When my brother says that, I want to explain to you, like, we go from, you know, receiving hundreds and hundreds of keys every week in Chicago to like making deals for tons at a time, Like, who could say that? Who could say I got 1,500 bricks going across I'm crossing them over tomorrow and the next day, and then I'm gonna have them in Chicago 5 days later. I mean,
Um,
that's
yeah,
the kind of difference we're talking about.
and even for people who were as close, like Chino Antes being as close to Zambada as he was, he again, everyone has their place, and for all those people who think that you got to be gangster and be a killer, like those killers didn't sit with us. And just make it real clear, they sat and looked, and were more cautious about being security than actually being in the business table. So there's two different worlds. And now for let me see, I see a comment out there by Craig Pettis. Funny stories that I actually ran into Craig Pettis when he was actually living in Mexico. Again, he was one of Barbie's um
Customers.
customers. Again, and I will say this: me being a close associate to Arturo Bertan Leiva, Arturo Bertan Leiva, Barbie was one of his top lieutenants. He had a lot of love for him as a sicario, as a hitman, as one of those persons. He wasn't looked at as a businessman. If anything, I feel like there's a handicap there. Like because you were that person, you had a business like a benefit, if that makes any sense.
A lot of super goons.
Oh, for sure. And that's why I always say like you hear about all the super goons, right? For sure, killers, gangsters, whatever you want to call them. But again, if there's two different words, there's the business part of it, and then there's the gangster part of it. For the most part, my brother and I were 100% business, and because of that, we were on a different level. Because at the end of the day, a cartel, a drug trafficking organization, it's all about the business, right? The Sicarios, hitmen are replaceable. That's easy.
Yo, P, you ever heard of Polo Ochoa?
Yeah, that name sounds familiar. I just don't know where.
Yes, P, it's Polo, bro. Chava.
Okay.
When I actually, my brother doesn't know him, but I know who actually I had some dealings with him. He was probably the biggest persecutor dealer at that time. He supplied all the fucking, chemicals for
For what? For
Mayo and
Percocet?
Chapo. Yeah, for Federer. Yeah, for those who what's that? Yayo, whatever double O. Oh man, you're keeping up with the story. Chapo Isidro was one of my close associates, close friend. Underneath me at the most of the time, he actually opened the doors for me. He actually one of the person that actually kidnapped P. So I have a long history there. It's not surprising he's still out there. Um, right, P?
Yes, sir.
Rambo still out
Oh
there?
man, Chapo Isidro is saying.
But is
Yeah,
Rambo
Chapo
still out
Isidro.
there?
I, I heard that Rambo's still out there.
Hmm.
Oh yeah, I I,
Yeah.
I I I don't know about that. We just, Rambo. Well, I don't know. We actually said in the story, but Rambo's actually correctional officers in Puente Grande. He was part of the group of COs that helped Chapo escape from prison the first time.
So he was moonlighting as a cartel member, or moonlighting as a CO and shit.
No, he was CO turned cartel member, and he was real deal. He was in charge of a big cell. He was good at what he did. He was a hitman. Javier Torres was in prison by the time we met. We met all his family, Manuel Torres and all that. They were forbidden to have any type of association with the cartel because Mayo knew he was Italian. So
Man, we never
yeah,
get into the like. Imagine what it took to get there. Like you earlier, I heard you say. I don't know. I was watching. Man, I got to Mexico in March of 2004. 2 weeks after I got there, after losing the load, we're getting another load. We're back at it. We're 100% back at it. And and to leave, we left Mexico at the end of 2008, which was almost a 5 year mark. That's a long time to be doing it at that level, man. I mean, you just don't understand. Like, we're not talking about, something. We're talking about day in and day out, day in and day out, you know? And it's a stressful life to live. Not many people get, one little failure, one mistake, and it's over.
Just touch somebody's sensitivity. It's a wrap.
Yeah, and it's a
yeah.
wrap, and you gotta know how to, gotta play your cards right, And like they say, you gotta know when to fold them.
I think about a lot of criminal organizations, and it all comes down to the human condition destroying everything. You know what I'm saying? Whether it be
Yeah.
ego, whether it be jealousy, whether it be disrespect, racism, silliest small
Mhm.
petty things, just crumbling empires. You know what I'm saying? Like,
That's the story for that LV was asking about Roberto Carrillo and about Chapo. I mean, the story goes is that so the last thing that did it was that he didn't shake Chapo's hand, And I think
I mean,
100,000
I mean,
people died after that.
yeah, there's a lot more to it, but for sure, I think that Rodolfo Carrillo was a killer. He wouldn't
Yeah.
respect.
Or Rodolfo, I said Robert.
Yeah,
I think.
yeah.
Yeah.
Rodolfo Carrillo was a killer. He didn't respect some of the rules, and he was picking up and killing, associates of the group, and without asking for permission. And he felt like he didn't have to ask for permission. But I think what drew the line was when he wanted to shake Chapo's hand, and that started a war that probably killed way over 100,000 people, and probably killed, friends of ours, just because he disrespected the group, and it caused a lot of issues inside the cartel as a whole. But it just goes to show you that at the end of the day, it's going to be what they decide. And, everyone who is involved of it, if you're not a boss, and you just got to live with it and cause a bunch of problems.
Yeah, so during those times, then the groups worked together, man. Even through Juarez, which the Juarez cartel ran. I mean, they worked together. They were allowed to, they shared the expenses of running the border, and everyone could traffic drugs through there. So it
Um,
was a big loss to the business overall, when once these things happen.
so at the end of the day, I mean, it's always, and it always will be, and it always has to be, and I guess that's life, a cautionary tale, because you know just think of that one story. You just said 100,000 people, right? Let's throw that number out there. Just one guy's bloodthirst and rage and anger and emotions and power trip and all of that, right? That leads to tension, that leads to a non-shaking hand, that leads to 100,000 people, and it's like there's no lack of people to
yeah,
burn.
I think my brother and I used to always say, like, people don't understand, like, man, my respects to Chapo, Mayo, and Turbotan, but at the end of the day, we idolize these people. But once we sat by them, I remember my brother be like, "Yo, bro, we take this shit over quick, for real." But
But we did business with a lot of people. Like we don't mention, like, when they talk about the head of the Sinaloa cartel, like there was a Nacho Coronel, and the Valencias were huge in that.
a
Man,
Millennial Cartel,
and Lena
Manuel
Cartel,
Fernandez,
Manuel Fernandez, El Animal, La Puerca, which was my, it's weird. He was gonna baptize my daughter. Me and him were super tight. There's so many
Los
those Queenie.
Queenies. I mean, man,
Um,
we could go down the list. Jose Tirso, big time dudes bringing 10, 15 tons at a time. Like people that you guys never would never even imagine or hear about. Um, all were part of our group. You get me? That made this shit happen some way, somehow, you know?
and we took chances, man. Like I said, we were young. When I think back, I was in my 20s. I think how much we matured and learned. And it's scary to think we're out there doing these things and we managed to somehow survive it and be here today. But, you know, we're always looking for better ways, man. We're always like, we know we had the buses with the stashes, we had semi trucks, we had fucking boats, we had a train, you know,
Fucking submarines,
and
tunnels, like, can you
whatever we could
imagine?
do to make that, you know, and it's like a lot of people don't want to invest back in their business. And, you know, my brother and I was always like, to us, it was like a business, like always, you know, we were always doing it. It wasn't like we weren't like thinking of retiring next year or getting caught. We're like, okay, how are we going to set this up to get the next 20 tons in, you know, in the future? And I mean, it kind of like, it was a stressful way to live. And it's funny how you say that. I remember we are going to buy some work from someone once, and he kind of bullshit. He took too long. We're going to buy in Guadalajara. And I kind of just said, forget it. I'm not going to wait for him. I mean, the dude in between, the little hitman dude, that he got offended by me, you know, and he kept like giving me signs, like saying for his boss that he sliced his own throat, and I was like, I started to get bothered at him, like, you know, and but I had my guy with me too, my guys kind of felt him started to get a little like he was drinking, you know, and I remember thinking like just like that over something so stupid, you know. Now I'm watching my back over a dude like him, you know.
And that's around every corner.
Yeah, around every corner, you don't even realize that you offended someone, or someone was a little envious, or
Right.
and now you know he wants to come smoke you.
In that game, it seems every empire, it's man's carnal desires and man's, the human condition that just they fall off, man. They get to the top, they get a little too crazy, they do a little too
Mhm.
much, and there's no turning back.
Yeah, it's always gonna be about the fucking dumbass shit. And we will always try to be nice and be like cordial about it and try to work things out. But it's always like it never worked out, man.
Silly shit.
It's always gonna be the shit that doesn't even matter. It's gonna probably ruin everything. And that's just the way the business was. Like, even though we could be the best business people ever, there's always someone's attitude or someone's dumb shit that ruined everything, you know? And I think that's what people don't understand. Like, fucking politics and dumb shit always ruin, what we were supposed to be there for, which was, to make the money, you know?
If you go to that Oakland Leaks, like they'll tell you the real shit about how people get treated. You know, they're there taking care of you, or you with the people one day, and for some reason, some like we talk about some dumbass excuse, them same people that are supposed to be protecting you are the ones, you know, wiping you clean. You know, they talk about that dude Nini took all dude's cars and his jewelry. You know, they can't wait for that. You know,
That
they're
power to
wolves for
bully
real.
everybody.
They're wolves for real. They just can't wait. You know,
Yeah,
to get
but
any
uh, but eh,
reason.
but it's weird because it's the same way for the gang culture, right? You know the way it is, Shy. Gang culture, there's a dude that calls the shots, and there's whatever the case is. But once that person decides to change his mind, right, it's open season. You know what I mean? It's just like it's weird because the streets will eat you up alive. All those people you call your friends, man, I don't give a fuck. You know what I'm saying? If it's not him snitching on you, it's him robbing you, it's him having envious, it's about the girl shit. And I think that for sure our story kind of gives a good example of all that stuff, right? But I think us just being straight up and honest, kind of is able to bring what the streets are, to life, and to be able to speak about it out loud.
Like this is what the life brings, though. You know, and it's sad because we don't always take it until it happens. You know, and you could build your empire, make that money, stack it, and the feds are gonna come take it. They're gonna leave you with shit. You're gonna be in prison. And if you don't have a wife like our wives, they're stuck through us and we're there to support us, and man, they did the unthinkable for us. You know, you're gonna be out there mad when they're when they move on with the next dude. it's a horrible experience. Or the other part of this, when you make it that big, if you're really unlucky, they fit you in a little suitcase, cut into pieces and leave you on the side of the road. Y'all ever see that? That's real life right there. You ever see that? You ever see a
Yeah,
human head just
I
laying right
want to.
there?
I want to add that to that shit. Just to let you know, I was listening to Cartel Wife. I feel like if you pay attention, they were a little bit ahead of the game what they were actually describing. What you see today on Cartel, TikTok, and all that shit, bro. That was our life in 2005, 2006. You guys are getting a glimpse of it today, and that shit's no joke. Especially us coming from Chicago. Like, look, man, it's a gangster city, right? We've been through it all. It's just on a different level. I think that for the most part, what we fail to realize is that gangsters ain't never themselves. They always try and portray. You don't know who's actually doing it for, you know, to show face or who they really are. And me and my brother never changed, bro. And those people who've been like that with me, I never changed my personality. The way I sound right now is the way I sounded in prison. The way I sounded when I was in Chicago. The way I sounded when we were in Mexico in the mountains. And that is me being real, who I am today. For those people who actually know us, it wouldn't be surprising to us that I'm doing what I'm doing. I know a little bit better. I'm like, and it's gonna sound too cocky or it's gonna sound arrogant, but that's I think our message with our story, with our life. Shy, I told you this before, right? We climbed a mountain that no one's ever climbed, and we came running back, and no one is asking actually why. And hopefully through our projects, through our help with 50 Cent and putting some of our life, in the big stream, and that's going to actually be able to, explain it.